Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. Welcome back to my little part of the internet where we celebrate being 50. Yay! I had a week off. And I turned the Big 50 and it was glorious, frankly. Yeah, it's great. I went swimming because I know what you need to do on the day you turn 50. You need to go swimming on a beautiful beautiful warm spring day. And I swam and it was lovely. And it's all good, all good. It is not a warm spring day today. Tomorrow we move into what it really should be kind of summer. And at the moment, I've got a jumper on and I'm considering putting a cardigan on. I know. Not good. It is grey, overcast, and a bit... I don't want to say miserable, but it's a bit miserable. I have got washing on the line because the dry soonish is full. Yeah, I'd packed it away thinking... What was I thinking? But I packed away thinking, this is it. This is the time now where I will dry all my clothes on the line. But no, I have put some out, but I don't think they're going to dry. But at least they'll be fresher before I put them on the dry soonish, which you can see there. I am trying to block the dry soonish from your view. There it is. Look at it. Look at it in all its magnificence. Yeah. There you go. There you go, friends. That's the kind of... the excitement. I had a lovely birthday. Thank you very much to everybody that sent birthday wishes, either here on YouTube or on Instagram. That was really nice. Thank you very much. Felt very loved. That was really nice. So why am I sat here and not sat where I normally sat? Sorry, slightly distracted by, not cats this time. I'm slightly distracted by various large birds having a bit of a squabble. They're blackbirds. That's 2 blackbirds and 2 lady blackbirds. It's blackbird family. Blackbird foursome. So I went to a supermarket this morning. Went to Aldi to get, and for various reasons, and I thought, we need some more birdseed, and they didn't actually have any more birdseed out there, but they had some of those kind of like fat balls, so I put some of those out, and I broke some up, and I put them out, and because we didn't have anything, and you could see that the birds had been going to the bird table and going, there's a lack of stuff at the buffet. Normally it's the husband that does that, but I just thought I'd put it out there, but they are enjoying that. But yeah, anyway, slightly distracted. There we go. So why am I sat here in front of this bookcase, which I don't think I've sat in front of? Have I sat in front of this bookcase before? I don't know. Feels a bit awkward. I feel like I should be over there, but I'm here. And the reason is because of all of my JD Robb. So you can see here I have JD Robb hardbacks, large format paperbacks. They're the B format paperbacks. There's another one just there, and then this is my A format JD Robb, Nora Roberts, writing as JD Robb, so you can see. Because what did I get for my birthday? I did get a couple of books. I've got another one coming. That one I actually chose, and that one's coming, and I'll show you that when that comes. But I got the brand new hardback of JD Robb, the Eve Dallas thriller called Encore in Death. So I put this on my wish list, and the boy, the lad, actually paid with his own money and bought my presents. I know. That's a rite of passage, isn't it? I mean, I haven't enforced that. I have always, but his dad obviously... Him and his dad obviously chatted about it, and he bought them with his own money. So that was really cool. So he chose, and he bought, and he chose this because he knows I love my JD Robb, and I had very much kind of thought, well, I won't buy the hardback, so I put it on there as almost a reminder as to which one I'm going to read next. And I thought I'll get it on the Kindle at some point, or if I see it in paperback, or I can borrow it from the library. But he actually went and chose it for me, so this is really lovely. What I should do is I should get him to write a little message in it, so that I know that it is from him, and keep it. So what I should do, I should actually get him to do that. He's not in today, even though it is half term, because he has gone to Cambridge with his friends. Yes, he has gone. 5 of them have gone to Cambridge on the bus. Yeah, on the bus. There is a bus that goes from the town that we live near to Cambridge city centre, and they go on it. Independent living, I tell you. To be 15 and going on the bus with your mates. He's gone, and they'll mooch about. They'll go to Forbidden Planet, buy some manga, I should imagine, and where else? I can't remember where else they were going to go last time. I can't remember, but there'll be somebody will want to go somewhere, and the 5 of them will trog there. There is a good possibility they might go to Waterstones. They are those boys. And then they'll go and have lunch somewhere. And they'll sit there and they'll eat their lunch. It is the most delightful thing ever to actually think of him doing that. Makes me so happy. Just makes me so happy. So he's doing that. So I will get a phone call in the next hour or two saying, Mum, can you come and pick me up? Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So he's not actually here today. So he's not here at the moment. I'll be picking him up later. So I thought I would sit in front of my JD Robb, and then you can actually look at my other shelves as well. Because I don't think I have shown you these shelves. But then you can see my other. That's my Harry Potter shelf, and then that's kind of all bits and pieces that relate to Harry Potter and some collectibles, and it's just, all sorts of nonsense. Yeah. Let me see. So, JD Robb is a pen name of Nora Roberts, and now they just proudly claim it so. So I've spoken about Nora Roberts many times and JD Robb many times, but if you're new here, this is a very long series of 60 odd books, maybe about 58, and there's some novellas as well, where it follows a lieutenant in the New York Police Department. She's a homicide lieutenant. She has a team, a crew that, a team of detectives that she manages, and it's set just in the future. So it's about 2057, 2058. So there is a little bit of future tech that she talks to, and that she talks about the past. And so there was the urban wars, which happened in about 2030. Who knows, it might happen. So they are, as it says here, a perfect balance of suspense, futuristic police procedural, and steamy romance. So that's what they are. So there is a crime in every book that gets solved. You're never left hanging in that way. This is the start of it. So it's JD Robb, and it says Naked in Death, but this is so worn out. Naked in Death. And this is where she meets. She's she's going against every warning, telling her not to get involved with Rourke, a charismatic Irish billionaire, and a suspect in Eve's latest murder investigation. So that's where it starts, and that is a good place to start. Let me pick up a few others. Glory and Death, that's a good one. I recommend that one. Divided in Death. That is also a good one if you're interested. Judgment, Conspiracy, Purity. Ooh, yes, Purity in Death. That was a good one. Yeah, that's quite a good one, that one. Purity in Death. No. Oh, yeah. Now, this actually follows one that... yeah. This is one where it was a killer from a previous time. It reconnects with it, and actually that one's a really good one. So that's Creation in Death. So there we go. There's a good little suggestion for you if you're interested in just picking up some. I do recommend starting with Naked in Death, but they're the other ones that I would suggest reading. So yeah, I just thought instead of telling you the usual, I would actually... Excuse me? Is that what we do? There we go. I would show you my shelves. I'll show you my Nora Roberts collection. Unfortunately, I can't get them all on the same shelf. That's just the way it is. I've got slightly too many of them now. And however much I've jiggery-pokered it, so using one of the larger shelves and everything like that, I still can't get them all on one shelf. But so I've split them in according to size. So that's the way it goes. So there we go. I have read it. So our internet went down on Monday, which was a bank holiday here in the UK. And I had started reading it on Sunday. So our birthday was last week. I started reading it on Sunday. I kind of had flicked through with it on Saturday, started reading it on Sunday, and then Monday was bank holiday. And the thing about these books for me is they are a easy one-dayer. I just think I just get into them, and I find it's excellent escapist. I'm not saying it's not that they're not good, because they are. They're not literature in the sense of you don't marvel at it, at the kind of how she uses words or that. The characters are well drawn. The plot, clips along at a good pace. You don't get bored in them. Yeah, well, I think after a series of 60, there are going to be some highs and some lows. I would say this was definitely in the top half. I like the characters. It didn't have the full cast of characters, so it didn't go into all the kind of the usual full cast of characters. It was just, and I've seen some reviews of this that said, "Oh, I missed the characters. I missed all of them." I think there's kind of like 4 of the normal crew that are mentioned in this, and I liked that. I liked it was more focused. I still think, as with the last one, she needs to develop the characters more. She did not. I don't think she hasn't developed the characters more, but it was a better, more focused into the plot. It might be too in-depth for some people because it went into all the investigation. But I enjoyed that, and I thought that the plot of the crime was a good one. So this one is, there's a party and somebody toasts their spouse, drinks back the champagne, and then falls down dead with cyanide poisoning, which if you have read Sparkling Cyanide by Agatha Christie, which funnily enough I have, I was like, oh! And so I do think she took that as inspiration. The fact that it is cyanide and it is in champagne, it's a champagne cocktail, and it is absolutely straight from Sparkling Cyanide, and it's a party. But in Agatha Christie's Sparkling Cyanide, it's just a group of them and it's a birthday party and they're all sat round. Yeah. So I kind of thought, oh, will it have echoes of that? And it didn't. That was kind of the echo. I think she took that as a starting point and then ran with it. But I did think it was good. I think it's in the top half of the JD Robbs. I don't think it'll be to everybody's taste because, as I say, the crime itself wasn't amazingly sexy, or it wasn't like kind of quick paced, and it's very kind of detailed into what they did. But I quite like that. I quite liked it, yeah. And I didn't think it was automatic. It wasn't automatically, you didn't automatically know who did it or know how it was going to be resolved. So for that, I enjoyed it as well. So yeah. So thank you to the lad for that. That is great. What I'll do, can I do that? Yeah. Is I'll put it there and I'll remind myself to get the lad to write into it. So the other thing I'm going to say is, I did get some other books, but I'm not going to show you those today, is I had a message on my last Wednesday reads from Leslie. I'm thinking that's how you pronounce it. I think so. It says, "Hi Louise. Hello. Especially love your true crime discussions. No worries. Could you maybe recommend some UK, European true crime books? As you imagine, in America we get saturated with the same stories over and over, and I'm always looking for cases I've never heard about. Do you recommend or have you read Finding Susie by David Vichetti?" No, I haven't heard of it. I take it it's about the Susie Lampo case. It's one of the few UK true crime books available in America, and I know nothing about this woman or what happened to her. If it is about Susie, it'll be about the Susie Lampo. I can't pronounce that surname. If it is about her, then it's a fascinating case, and I remember that case happening. And I remember it is nobody has been tried and convicted. Nobody's been arrested, but it really changed the culture of detection, and it was one of the cases that highlighted women's personal safety. So Susie Lampo, I think it's Lampo, is that how you can pronounce her surname? Was an estate agent, and she was showing a gentleman round a house in, I want to say Clapham, in South London, and was never seen again. But there were kind of little sightings of her within that hour, and then she vanished without a trace, and they think they know who it is. But I can't tell you about that book. But however, I am now fascinated in reading it. I have listened to and read stuff about it, but not that particular book. Yeah, so I would suggest looking at that. I'm going to look at that. So thank you for the recommendation inadvertently. I have picked out a few books. When I sat and thought about it, I don't actually read that many UK crime books. I listen to podcasts about them and watch YouTubes about them, but I haven't actually got that many books in my collection that are based in the UK or in Europe. There is one that I don't know where it is. She says, I was going to get that book out, but I really don't know where that is. And that's called Monster. And that's by Lincoln Preston and somebody else. And that's called Monster. And that is about a serial killer that that targeted courting couples in, I want to say northern Italy. I want to say in Tuscany. And that was in the 1970s and early 80s. And it's called Monster. That is a book set in Italy. That is really good. Let me double check that I'm getting all the details right. That's off the top of my head. So bear with, and I will look up on my new phone my Lincoln Preston. Here we are. Ba 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 ba. No, it's not. It's Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Oh, they've obviously written several things together. I'm sure it's called Monster. I'm just seeing if it's available. Dee. Fever Dream? No, they did. I have actually read some of these now. Looking at this. Oh, Douglas Preston, Lincoln Child, Monster. No, is it just Douglas Preston then? Douglas Preston. Extinction. No. Oh. I'm not gonna. Oh, here we are. It is Douglas Preston. I thought I managed to mash both their names. So it's The Monster of Florence by Douglas Preston. There we go. And it's in Florence. Florence. So The Monster of Florence, which was shortlisted for the prestigious Crime Writers Association Gold Dagger Award for non-fiction in 2010, which is when I read it, is a true account of a brutal serial murder in idyllic Florence. After settling in Italy in 2000, Douglas Preston discovered that the olive grove in front of his family's new home had been the scene of one of the infamous double murders in Italian history, committed by a serial killer who had never been found and was only known as the Monster of Florence. So I managed to mash Douglas Preston and Lincoln Childs because obviously I have actually read some of their books that they've written together, and I thought they wrote this together, but they didn't. Preston, intrigued, met Italian journalist Mario Spezi, who had followed the case since the first murders in 1974. This is the true story of their search for and identification of the man they believe committed the crimes. Now, if I remember, I read this ages ago. That was a very good book. It looks like it's available on the old Kindle, if you have a Kindle. Doesn't look like it's actually available in any other format, but yeah. So there's that, The Monster of Florence. I have spoken about that before. Who knows where that is? I'm having difficulty with my books at the moment. I do need to sort them out. So I've picked up a couple of others. I've got The Suspicions of Mr. Witcher, or The Murder at Road Hill House. This is seen as the inspiration for Wilkie Collins' his detective. So the detective that is, it says, a terrific read in the Wilkie Collins tradition. But Wilkie Collins is supposed to have seen all the coverage of the murder at Road Hill House and been inspired by it and created a detective. And he is credited as being one of the first novelists to have a recognised detective as the solver of the crime or the solver of the mystery. So it is kind of connected to that. So it's the original Victorian whodunit is what they call it. So this is a true story. So this is true crime by Kate Summerscale. And it's midnight on the 30th of June in 1860, and all is quiet in the Kent family's elegant house in Road, Wiltshire. The next morning, however, they wake up to find their youngest son has been the victim of an unimaginably gruesome murder. Now, if I remember right, it is gruesome, but the focus is on the kind of the family and the detective. It isn't too bad. It isn't too gruesome in that way. So Jack Witcher, the most celebrated detective of his day, arrives at Road to track down the killer. The murder provokes national hysteria at the thought of what might be festering behind the closed doors of respectable middle-class homes. Scheming servants, rebellious children, insanity, jealousy, loneliness and loathing. So this is a really good book. I can highly recommend that if you're interested. And so that is kind of historical true crime. This was written... in 2008, so it is a relatively new read. Relatively new, no, it's 15 years old. So I can recommend Manhunt by Colin Sutton and his previous book. So there are 2 books by Colin Sutton called Manhunt. There is Manhunt and then there's Manhunt the Night Stalker, and both of them, I've read both of them. I really admire him as a detective, a man who, an incredibly principled police officer who kept his eye and focus on what needed to be done and was willing to take the pressure. And this book is really fascinating. There has been, as it says, now a major TV drama. So it has been a TV drama, and there have been loads of documentaries on this as well. But the first one is about Manhunt, is about Levi Belfield, who was a serial killer, and has he recently been found guilty, or at least recently confessed to the murders of 2 other women. I mean, vile man. And I actually was given a copy of that book, and I really struggled with it because of the picture of him on the cover. I just thought, no, he's just evil. And there is this book. This book, I remember the crime happening and the effect of it. I remember the kind of the discussions of it. This was the Night Stalker, and he targeted elderly people that were alone in their house, and that in London, and it was just awful. So I recommend these 2 books. So Manhunt and Manhunt the Night Stalker by Colin Sutton, because he is an amazing detective, and both books were so readable. If you like police procedure and you want that, then that's what I could kind of recommend for that. And then the other one, this is about, if you've listened to West Cork, the podcast, or you've watched Sophie on Netflix. Is that Netflix? What's the other? There's another one. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, this is Murder at Roaringwater by Nick Foster. The inside story of the death of Sophie Toscan de Plantier. So she was violently killed outside her holiday cottage in the remote West Cork countryside just before Christmas in 1996. It is still unresolved. It's actually just been opened up again within the last year, and they are doing a fresh investigation into it. The person who is thought to have done it and who so much media attention is an Englishman who lives out in West Cork. I'm not going to say his name. And this author cultivated a friendship with him, an odd friendship. He knew all the time, the suspect, he knew all the time that he was a journalist and that he was writing a book about it. So there was nothing shady. However, so there is that kind of like, was he manipulating him? So it's interesting in that way. There is another book by Michael Sheridan, which can I find the title of that? Which again deals with this crime. And I kind of like the both of them together. The Murder of Sophie, How I Hunted and Haunted the West Cork Killer by Michael Sheridan. So both, I found them, that's very deep, that's incredibly detailed, that one. and goes into kind of great details about all the court cases that have happened with it, and all the obviously it has a lot of, Michael Sheridan has a lot of connections with the police and with the prosecutors, and he went to the court cases and he, you know, quotes them verbatim. It's an incredibly detailed book. And then this one is a bit more chatty, is a bit more of a kind of is a journalistic portrayal of the story and what happens, and they both work together. I actually found that they worked really together. So that's The Murder of Sophie, How I Hunted and Haunted the West Cork Killer, and then this is Murder at Roaringwater. So they're two books about the same crime, which you might enjoy. So there we go, there's some suggestions. I don't read a lot of UK crime. I guess it's because I know the stories and I can remember them. The other thing is that a lot of the true crime books that I have seen and that are based in UK, especially in England, tend to be about organised crime and about gangsters or street crime or that kind of thing, especially organised crime. That kind of almost semi-glamorous mob connections, not that it's particularly mob connections, but it is that kind of gangster, you know, rough, from a rough neighbourhood, lots of money, flashing his cash, organised crime. There are a lot of books that are written about that. They leave me cold, personally. If you're into it, then you know, fair play, fill your boots. But for me, they actually really leave me cold. They're not the kind of thing that I enjoy reading about. I don't watch things about them at all. So what springs to mind, if you're of an age like myself, you will have grown up with stories about the Krays, and you at some point, probably somebody that you know said, oh yeah, well, my brother's cousin's ex-wife's, you know, hairdresser once knew the Krays, or they seem to have their tendrils, you know, spread out everywhere. And that was in the 1980s. And I remember bits and pieces about the Krays, and they're just nice, nasty people. But the organised crime, mobster, always leaves me cold. I don't watch the films, you know, The Godfather. Not that that's set in London, that's of course set in the US of A. Yeah, but it doesn't interest me at all. So I'm not drawn to, I guess I don't even check to see what's out. I listen to so much American true crime that I guess I get pulled into their stories. Yeah. But there we go. There's a few books for you. I've shown some Nora Roberts. I've shown you a few true crime books. And yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for either Leslie or myself about true crime books which are not based in America, that are different ones, there must be some good Australian stories out there, which will be fabulous to delve into. So yeah, we'll be up for hearing about those. That would be fabulous. Please, thank you kindly. So this has been lovely, BookTube. It's gone on slightly longer than I thought I would do. I thought it was going to be a real quickie. Hope you don't mind. And yeah, lovely to see you. I will be back on Sunday with my latest yarn chat. Again, showing some new stuff. If not, I'll see you next week for Wednesday Reads. This has been lovely, BookTube. See you again.